emotional stuffers. Let me explain how this develops, what we do, the consequences of it, and it goes like this. If you grew up in complex trauma, you experienced a lot of pain and a lot of scary stuff, fear. And so you would cry, you would show fear, you would show anxiety. And usually what would happen is you get punished for that, or you get made fun of, laughed at, told you were a suck, a weakling. And so what you realize is there's certain emotions that you now consider weak emotions because they make you vulnerable to being punished, shamed, made fun of, all of that. And so what happens in you is you say this to yourself. Showing those emotions never leads to anything good. It only leads to pain, only leads to bad. Therefore, I can never show those weak emotions. So you stuff them down. You try to freeze them out. And then to help you do that, part of you goes, who needs emotions anyways? They're a dumb invention. They're unnecessary. I am going to be a cerebral intellect. And I'm just going to operate out of my brain. And I could cut off my body from here down. Wouldn't matter to me except for sex. All I need is that brain. And that's the important part. Emotions are dumb, stupid. Okay, many of you have gone there. Then another thing that children do is this. The more I care about something, the more it hurts when I lose it or when it's in danger. And that's when I cry. That's when I get afraid. So, the way to not experience those weak emotions is don't care about anything. Just develop an attitude of indifference to everything where you walk around going, whatever, nothing bothers me, and you try to shut down any type of feeling at all. When you find drugs, you go, I just found the perfect way to numb, freeze, not feel, alcohol, all of that. That does all of this perfectly for me. So what I ask clients all the time is this. You're making this sound like a really good system that you've developed. Are you sure it's as good as you think it is? So let me give you some of the problems that most people begin to experience from shutting down all those weak emotions. Number one, what you're doing is not just shutting down emotions. What you're doing internally is you're saying, there's parts of me that I hate. I hate I'm so sensitive. I hate that I get angry so quickly. I hate that I cry so easily or I get sad so much. I'm embarrassed by parts of me. And what is going on in your brain is you're saying, I wish I could just cut out those parts of me and throw them away. And so now what you've done is tried to cut yourself in half. The part of you you like, the part of you you don't like. And the part of you you don't like, you just try to shove away, lock up, throw away the key. Try not to even admit that it's there in your life. So now you're less than a total person. You're not a complete person. And you hate a part of yourself. Second thing that happens, you try to convince yourself that emotions don't affect you, that they don't influence your decisions. But what you begin to realize is that emotions are running your life, mainly fear and anger. And they just keep messing stuff up. They mess up relationships, they mess up jobs, they keep you awake at night, they keep you full of guilt. And so emotions, as much as you've tried to stuff them down, continue to run the show. And then the next thing you begin to realize if you're an addict is that emotions lead to relapse. Now, one of the things that we deal with clients all the time is what are your emotional or what are your relapse triggers? And what I say to clients is this: think of it this way. The beginning of a relapse usually starts with an emotion. It usually starts with a painful and intense negative emotion. That emotion starts off a series of dominoes falling that end with a relapse. And so emotions, if you don't learn how to deal with them and manage them, they will lead to relapse after relapse after relapse. Next thing, what many people find is that they try to stuff down all the negative emotions, the painful ones, but they find out that emotions are part of a package. So all of your emotions, the happiness, the pleasure, all of those ones, they're part of the painful emotions. And so when you stuff one down, you stuff everything down. And as you stuff down the negative emotions, you begin to feel dead inside. You begin to feel an emptiness, a boredom. You're just not very alive. And that is important to be honest about. And then one other thing that people realize, that to shut down emotions is they have to shut down their conscience. Because if they allow themselves to have a conscience, they feel guilt. And then guilt leads to all kinds of other emotions. And so now they're not just shutting down emotions, they're shutting down their conscience. They're hardening their heart, they're hardening themselves. You want to know what you've ended up with? A robot. Not a human being, but a robot. That is not a good way to live. Do you realize that emotions, once you get and work through your painful emotions and you begin to experience positive emotions, they add such beauty to life. They make life something that most of you have never experienced, a pleasure, a contentment, a joy that you will never have as long as you try to disregard your emotions.